Hi, everyone, and welcome to a Quantum Healing and Beyond video. I am so excited today to be here with two very good friends and fellow quantum healing practitioners, Allison Coe and Lauren Hanson. And Allison's coming from, where are
Portland.
you?
Portland, Oregon, baby.
Portland, Oregon. Yes, all I could think of is where the sun is still shining because I can see the window. And you're on the West Coast. Yeah, and Lauren is, where are you? You're on the East Coast, right, Lauren?
Yeah, in South Carolina.
South Carolina. And so today we've come together to introduce a video of a session that Lauren and Allison had together not too terribly long ago. And it was a very interesting session, and there were some very interesting components of it. But one of the most interesting things about this session was it was done with both ladies remaining on both coasts and using this format right here, the Zoom web conference or web meeting interface. And so they did a session in that way, and we're going to share it with you today. And so we're calling this session, or you guys are calling this session, let's see, we decided together momentarily ago, the Light Language, Sacred Sexuality and Hybrid Children session, where Allison is the facilitator and Lauren is the subject or the client who is having the experience. Now, before we watch the video, what do you ladies want to talk about to let our audience know about how you decided to do this, why you decided to do this, maybe some of the questions that you had prepared, or just anything you want them to know before we watch the video?
Okay. Well, it's a really funny and synchronistic story how we ended up coming together as practitioner and client. I had decided that I was ready for another session because I was having some energetic experiences that I felt like needed some help fully coming to bloom, so to speak. And so on our lovely forum, I posted a request for anybody who wanted to be my next practitioner. And I went that route instead of searching one out because I knew the universe would bring me the perfect person. And in my request, I did say within reasonable driving distance, you know, North Carolina, Georgia area. And it had crossed my mind to do an online session, but I didn't want to put pressure on anybody to ask them to do an online session for me. So I didn't put that in my request. So a few hours after I posted it, it was 11:30 at night, and I was already asleep. And I start getting, I got a phone call, and I was like, "Who's calling me?" I thought it was an emergency, and so I looked at my phone, and it says Oregon. I'm like, who's calling me from Oregon right now? And so they left a message, and I listened to the message, and it was Allison. And she's like, I couldn't even wait to read your entire post. She didn't even read it. She left me a voice message saying, I would love to be your practitioner. I'd love to be, and call me back as soon as you can. And I texted her, and it was funny. We laughed. And anything you want to add to the story, Allison?
Yeah, I on my phone, I can't link up to the wonderful forum that we have. I only get the emails and the titles, and I saw that it was from you and that you were looking for a practitioner, and I couldn't hit on the link to actually find out what the heck you were talking about. I was like, let me just hope that she wants me and that I'm the answer to this. So I got that weird feeling, you know, where you just get kind of butterflies and you get like your heart beating. Because I just knew I had to get a hold of you. I had to jump. So I was actually getting into bed, even though it was like, it was like 8:30. I'm a mom, and I was like, read a book or whatever. Yeah, I'm super tired. It's 8:30. But I was like, oh crap, Lauren. And it's not like I have your number on speed dial. I had to search you out. You know, I had to like put in, I had to Google you to get a hold of you. And then, yeah, I sounded like a maniac. I was like, I don't know. I can't wait. I'm just going to see. So, yeah, I didn't even think about the time difference. that, you know, you're probably, you know, about to turn into a pumpkin, you know. So yeah, sorry about that.
It was great. That part worked out. That part worked out perfectly because I knew, we both just knew that this is what we were supposed to do, and it ended up being a lot more meaningful and I think bigger than we even at that time thought that it would be. So
yeah, it was actually,
and I'm really grateful for you being my practitioner.
Yeah, me too. I'm glad I got the opportunity. That was really cool. And it was, you know, I'm so glad you had the foresight to post it on the forum, because that was what was so cool. Because when I finally the next day looked at looked at what you said on the post, you got an overwhelming response. An overwhelming response. Everybody wanted to be your practitioner, and that was really cool to see. Because
yeah, it's so humbling. I was really shocked. Yeah, we really do.
It was so amazing to see. It was humbling for me. I was like, ooh, I don't know. Maybe I'm not the one. Everybody wants
You're
to be
the one, baby.
I called.
Yes, right.
We really
did.
Great
on the call.
People on the forum, and I remember reading that thread myself and seeing how many people were offering and talking about how close they were and how they could hook up. And Lauren just has some great energy, and so does Allison, and you know, they just magnetically connected. And so they had this session. Yeah. And so let's talk about this interface, about doing Zoom sessions, doing quantum healing online. You know, it's I've been doing this work now since 2008, pretty much full time, but I didn't start doing sessions till Zoom became available, because I never liked Skype. I didn't deal with it very well. And so I started doing Zoom sessions fall of 2016. And so for me, I've actually been doing them now about 14 months. And I didn't know how I would feel about doing them in this way. And I am so incredibly and pleasantly surprised how really easy it is. And some people, I'm finding, are far more comfortable doing a session this way, maybe sitting on their own sofa at home without the stress and the travel, you know, that brings and time away from the family and scheduling and all of that. And for me, my experience so far has been outstanding. So talk to us a little bit about that, doing the session via the internet. Well, do you want to start, Lauren? Maybe not. But
do you have any? Do you have any thoughts? You go ahead.
Well, it was honestly my first session on Zoom, that's for sure. And I actually, the only reason I even considered being Lauren's practitioner was because people started coming out of the closet about doing this, thanks to you, Candace, and your post about the fact that a lot of people were doing this. In fact, like you said, you had been doing it for 14 months and you didn't really want to talk about it. If I remember, you didn't really want to bring it out into the open until you had had that trial period and you had had such success with it, and you could have a good amount of data to bring to the table. So luckily you had posted all that whole thread about that, and people and so many people responded, yeah, I'm doing it too, and it's been such a success and everything, and it just an amazing, overwhelming response. And so that's why when Lauren posted her message, I was like, you know, that could work. I just didn't, that was the first thing that came to mind. I could do this because you guys just said I could, and it works for you. And so, but Lauren did all the, Lauren did all the like account stuff and opened up a Zoom account and everything. All I did was press a button and logged in, and it was that.
Yeah,
easy.
It's super easy. Yeah, really easy.
And you can talk before you record, and it was wonderful. It was like she was in the next room, literally. Like, or not, I mean, in the same room, not the next room. It was like she was in the same room.
Yeah, and I had already
Okay, great.
done.
Well,
Can you hear me? Sorry. So I'm sorry there's such a delay. Yeah, I just wanted to mention that I had done the one session online, and it was a huge success. Everything worked out perfectly. There was absolutely no difference in the session compared to when I'm with somebody. And, you know, your post was, Candace, was what originally gave me the courage to go ahead and say, let's do this. Let's do an online session with my buddy in Wisconsin. And because it worked out so well, when Allison called me and wanted to be my practitioner, I guess the stars just aligned, and we knew that it was the online was the way to go. So.
well, that's a really fun detail about this session. But past that, past the fact that it's, you know, that it was done this way, the session itself had some really interesting discoveries, and it had a really great, interesting past life or life story to begin with. And it was fascinating. So both of you sent the recording to me, and I got to preview it before today to be able to talk about it a little bit. And I was mesmerized. I was really mesmerized. I thought, and we'll talk about that more after our listeners have a chance to watch the video. But Allison, I have to tell you, you are a brilliant facilitator. I thoroughly enjoyed your style. I think that other facilitators will enjoy watching you and seeing how comfortable you were in that role, and how much humor actually was invited into this session. And this beautiful energy of humor did nothing more than help the vibration and the frequency of the information that was coming forth. At least that's the way it felt to me. You know, sometimes people do this work in a very serious way, and come on, it can be very serious. People have very serious issues they bring to the table. They're life-threatening, sometimes life-changing things that go on in you know, in people's worlds, to bring them to have a session. So I'm not making light of our session. All I'm saying is that there was a place for the really wonderful, incredible, strong energy of humor in your session and in other sessions as well. It's okay to laugh. We're humans, and we laugh. Laugh is a healing and wonderful thing. And that part of your session was one of my favorite parts, along with a lot of the information, which we'll talk about after our viewers have a chance to watch the session.
Changing quickly, like you're still traveling? Or is the image just hard to grasp?
It's just hard to grasp. I'm kind of on a dirt path.
Okay.
So on top of a really high hill. I don't want to call it a mountain because it's grassy, but it's high.
Like you can look down from it and see far below?
Yeah, like maybe like in Scotland and Ireland, how the hills are high.
Okay. As you look around, what else do you see? Because you're pretty high up there, as you said, so you have quite the vantage point. What do you see around you? Look down.
It's grassy, green grass, really green. At the base of the hill, I see like a little cottage. And then a body of water, like a lake, or like a large pond, or small lake kind of in between the hills. Some distance from the cabin.
Okay, I was just going to ask how close that was to the cabin. Okay. And what about if you look in the other direction? Can you make out anything that other direction?
more hills and trees. Forest. It looks like the path goes between the hills, like it goes somewhere.
Okay. Good. Now, what does the air feel like up there on that hill? On the hill?
It's definitely cool.
Okay. Is it windy or is it pretty calm?
Mm. It's calm with the wind, like a wind gust every now and then.
Okay. Very good. I'd like for you to look down now, down at your feet, and describe what you see for me.
Um,
What do you
they
see?
look, well, they look like human feet, but almost kind of like Hobbit feet, because they look human, but too big. Because the frame that I'm sensing is small, but the feet are big and kind of hairy. So
Okay, but it has like 5 toes.
yeah,
Okay, but
like
kind of
kind of
big.
like yeah, kind of like a Hobbit would.
Well, let's look at the rest of you then. So
Okay.
are the feet then are uncovered since you can see the hair and everything?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Kind of dusty. And, okay.
Okay. Let's see what's on the rest of your legs.
My legs are uncovered too, and my skin's definitely really fair, like really light skinned, and not very hairy legs, but I feel small, like petite, really petite. And I see like a white skirt, nothing
Oh.
fancy, but like just covering or something.
So is that, how far down your legs does that kind of covering go?
Like right past my knees or mid shin.
Okay. Good. And you said it's nothing fancy, just like a piece of fabric. Would you say it's kind of softer or would you say it's kind of rougher?
It's very well worn, so it's pretty soft at this point.
Okay. Now let's move up to your torso area.
Okay.
I'm really curious.
I don't know. I'm just kind of confused about what I'm seeing.
Well, let's
Um,
see.
okay. So I think the skirt is connected to a dress, like just like a really basic plain white dress, and I saw like a blue jacket over that.
Okay. Is the jacket loose and open in the front or is it kind of tight and closed? Fitting or?
It's kind of fitted, but it's not like it's very well made. It's not wouldn't have been expensive, like it looks homemade or something. It's just kind of made to cover you sort of thing, but it's not huge. It's not, but it's pretty fitted. It's fitted but not tailored.
Okay. And what does it feel like the jacket's made out of? Just fabric or woven fabric or something else?
Yeah, like a rougher canvasy sort of fabric.
Okay, now the money shot. Let's go up to the to the head. What is your head? What is anything on top of your head? Are you wearing anything up there? And what do you see up there? If you can't see, go ahead and reach your hands up on top of your head
Okay.
and feel and see if you have anything up there, whether it's hair or something else.
Okay. Yeah. I'm getting like a hoodie type thing with the tassels on it.
Okay, very good.
Like a knitted like a knitted warm head covering thing with the tassels that come down under the chin, but they're not tied.
Just loose and hanging.
Yeah, it's
okay.
warm, so it's just meant to keep your head warm.
Good. Let's look at your hands. Oh, unless you have more to describe.
I just feel like a girl, like a young girl.
Very good. So you
I'm
feel
really
like a young
petite,
girl.
but I don't understand why my feet look like that.
Well,
I
that's
want
why.
to say I have blonde, like wispy blonde hair.
Okay. And if you don't mind, let's go ahead and look at your hands.
Okay.
What do they look like to you?
I mean, they look like human hands, but like my feet, they're a little bit bigger than they should
Okay.
be for a petite young girl.
Okay. So kind of large hands and feet. The rest of you seems pretty petite. You're young. You feel young. Now, I'd like for you to take me to wherever it is that you live. Let's go visit that place now. And describe it for me once you get there.
Okay. I live in the barn outside of that cottage.
Oh, you do? Okay. Good. Now, do you have to, from the outside, does a barn look like a nice place to live, or does it look like an old, worn down barn? You got to describe it for me because I can't really see it.
Okay. I have to pee again. Is that ridiculous?
Is there any way you could hold it till we get to your larger part of you? I'll let you decide.
Okay. It's distracting me really bad.
Okay.
I have to go.
Okay, I can hear you just fine. You feel better?
Yeah, for now.
Good. Now, where were we?
Okay, we're at this barn. Okay.
Now, in my mind, I see barns a certain way. But could you tell me what you see when you look at that barn? What is the roof made out of? And does it have any paint, or is it raw wood, or is it made out of something else?
Okay. It's kind of run down, but not too bad. And it's small. It's not a huge barn. I want to say it's painted like a light blue, but it's older.
And the roof, what is that like? Can you see it now?
I want to say it's like bark for some reason.
So like a rough hewn wood.
Mm-hmm.
Is it like, are they long pieces or kind of short stacked pieces overlaid?
Looks like short stacked, kindling or twigs stacked up, and then bark laid over top of that.
Very interesting. Okay. Good. Well, let's go inside. How do you get inside?
There's double doors.
Do you use those?
Yeah. Yeah, but only one. I just open one and go in.
Does it slide out or open out, or does it
It
kind of
opens
slide?
out.
Okay. What do you see when your eyes adjust? And what do you smell in there?
It's a dirt floor, so it smells like earth and hay. There's some hay in there, some grass and stuff.
I love that smell.
But it's mostly empty. There's no animals in here.
Okay. Where is it that you sleep?
Looks like the upper left-hand corner.
How do you get up there? Oh, sorry, go ahead.
Just on the ground. So, like upper left, like back left.
Oh, I see. Okay, so it's not like up. Okay.
Like in and left into the back of the barn.
Okay.
There's just some grass there. And
Are there any personal belongings around there that you can see?
it's like all I really see is this little box, a little wooden box. Maybe some other little things like something to eat off of and an eating utensil of some kind. And this little box.
Would you like to open that little box? Does it have any detailing on the outside, or is it just pretty plain?
It's pretty plain, rough wood. It's not tiny. Kind of medium size it is. Okay, so I'll open it. There's like a black cloth. It looks kind of I guess fancy. It's kind of shiny, a little bit translucent, maybe.
Is it nicely folded, or is it just kind of lying there?
It's folded. And then a little stone, like a marble, but not a marble. It's a stone. And around, like a sphere.
Okay, so it is a sphere. What color is that?
Dark red, like a garnet, maybe.
Wow. Is it translucent? Like you could actually see through it if you held it up?
Yeah, maybe it's not as dark as a garnet would be, because I can see that it's red. But if you hold it up to the light, it's pretty dark, but you can see that it's red when you hold it up to the light.
Are there any shapes or anything in it, or is it just all pretty uniform?
There's a shape like an eye almost. I want to say it's like, that's what it reminds me of, like an eye.
So like a oval kind of pointy on each side.
Yeah, like maybe it
That
has a center and it radiates out or something like that.
Oh, okay.
So you can see the gradation when you hold it up to the light.
And was that wrapped in that black cloth, or was it just under the black
It
cloth?
was just in there with it. It may have been sitting on top or something, but it was just in there with it.
Were there any other items besides those two in there?
It's a crystal on a pendant, like a metal pendant on a sort of a chain link thing, and it's pointy, not like cone pointy, but long pointy.
Okay, and then there's a crystal. So the crystal is not the pendant. The pendant is just the metal.
No, it's on the pendant. Yeah,
The crystal's on the pendant. Oh, okay. Where is it? Where's the crystal set on the pendant? It's not. Is it on the? Is it above the pointy part?
Yeah, so there's like a flat part on one end and then a pointy part, and it's set just below the flat part. So not all the way to the end of the crystal, but just about maybe a centimeter down or something. And it's got like a metal clamps on, so the pendant's being held like with metal clamps, like trying to describe.
I think you're describing it well.
And
So
on either side of the clamp is where the necklace part goes in.
got it. Okay. Now, is it your impression that this is something to be worn ever, or something to be used, or just something to be hidden away like you had it?
Seems like I'm waiting for the time that it would be appropriate to wear it and to use it.
How has it been used in the past?
It seems like I was told to keep it secret. To keep it out of the wrong hands.
Okay, so you're
It seems like it hasn't been misused before, but there has been an opportunity for that. So
you're kind of entrusted with it,
mm-hmm.
safeguarding it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And it can be used for something good and something bad? Is that what you're trying to say? Like if it's in the wrong hands, it can be possibly used for something nefarious?
Like it creates a portal or gateway or something.
Okay.
So yeah, if that's the impression that I get, that if the wrong parties find out that where it is that I have it, that they would obviously use it for personal gain.
So that's the pendant. What about the black fabric and the red marbly stone with the eye?
This seems crazy, but the black fabric is like an invisibility cloth. That's so weird and crazy. Okay, but that's the first impression that I got.
So you could kind of put it on you?
Yeah.
Wow.
And it cloaks you. Because it's big, like it's not just a small piece of fabric. a generous piece of fabric folded nicely and kind of transparent so you can kind of see through it. And the red stone. Gives the person holding it in their left palm the ability to remote view.
So the person holding that stone in their left hand has the ability to remote view.
Mm-hmm.
Do you ever do that? Do you ever use these items?
Only, it looks like only when it's absolutely necessary.
When has it been necessary in the past?
Mm. It looks like I belonged to a group. Mm. And these among other tools were things that we used to just conduct our business. Like that was what we did, among other things, magical type things. But that we had been disbanded for some reason. So now, what the hell is that? Was that my cat? I was scared. Did you hear that?
Uh-uh.
That was some kind of vibration next to the bed.
Oh my goodness.
I don't know if that was my cat, but I hope it was. Okay,
I'm sure it was.
it's freaky though.
Okay, so you were part of a group
Mm-hmm.
that used these things
Mm-hmm.
for their business. And the group has now been disbanded, and you're charged with the safekeeping of these particular items.
And it looks like I was a child. I'm not a little kid. I don't know why I'm so petite, but I'm not. I'm young. I was a young member of the group, but not like a baby. So
Okay.
I guess something happened to them, and I was given these things and told to go away and to hide.
Okay. So you're kind of hiding away with these things. And are there other items that were given to other people?
Yeah, bigger things that maybe couldn't be carried easily. But I don't know what happened to those things.
Okay. In your group, let's look back at that. Look back at when you were together as a group. What are some of the things you did? What was the purpose of this group?
Mm. So I have like a child's understanding of it, because I wasn't directly responsible for the activities that happened in the group. So, I mean, obviously I was there and I saw what they were doing and things, but I want to say it has something to do with maintaining just the equilibrium of of the area. But it feels bigger than that too, not just the direct area. I think I'm hearing portal keepers or portal guardians. Something like that.
Okay. And that goes in line with the pendant that you said, the purpose of the pendant, how it can open a portal.
Mm-hmm.
Does it open a portal to a specific, between where you are and a specific place, or does it just open a portal to where you are in any place?
It looks like you hold the redstone. It looks like you hold the redstone and see where you want to open the portal. And then use the crystal pendant to open it there. So you kind of go ahead. Your consciousness kind of goes ahead to make sure that it's safe and everything's okay. You know, there's no danger there to open it. And then you open it.
Wow. That is pretty exciting.
Mm-hmm.
That would be pretty fun to use.
Mm-hmm.
But you really use it just for fun, right? Is that my understanding?
I was told not to use it until I was sure that it was time to. It looks like I've used it a couple of times just to practice to make sure that I remember how to use it, because I was pretty young when I went off by myself. So I've taken it upon myself just to give myself a reminder that I can still use it and that it still works. But I keep getting the impression that when you use it, it attracts attention. So
Yeah.
I was hesitant to say that because I don't want it to sound like the Eye of Sauron and Lord of the Rings.
Yeah, right?
That's kind of what it's like.
But where do you think he got that idea from?
Right.
Okay. All right. So you would be a little bit leery to use it because it would attract attention.
Yes, I would just do it really quickly and make sure that I still was able, that it was still working, and then I would quickly put it away.
Okay. And that's completely understandable. Completely understandable. All right. Well, let's leave that scene. Leave that scene, and we're going to move forward in time. In this life, we're leaving that scene, and we're going to move forward to an important day in the life that we're watching. We're only going to go to one important day. So leave that scene, move forward to an important day where something is happening. What do you see now?
I'm older, I'm like a woman, and I know it seems strange, but it's kind of like I'm kind of like a combination of a hobbit and an elf, like this kind of human, kind of strange woodland creature, but person. And I'm wearing like a long white garment type dress with some stuff around my waist, belted with some charms and stuff coming off of it. And looks like I'm running through the woods with my big feet. Still bare feet.
Are you just running for the joy of it? Are you running to get somewhere? Are you running from something? Do you have that impression?
It's not a happy run. It looks like I'm carrying the things in the satchel, like a leather satchel. I'm not really sure. I'm just running
Okay.
through the forest quickly.
Okay. And have you, so you're a little bit older now. Have you had the opportunity now or the necessity to use the objects as you were told to, that at some point you may need to use them?
Yeah, I'm a woman. I'm definitely a woman now. Yeah, it is time. Like this is the time.
This is the time. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So, and are you, is there a certain place that you need to use these objects, like a location that they work best, or are you just trying to get somewhere to chill and use them?
It's like I'm trying to get to this certain location before somebody else does.
Oh, so there is a location.
Um,
Okay. Well, let's move forward and see where you go, what the location is. With the count of 3, we'll have moved through. Quicken the pace. 1, 2, 3. Where do you end up?
There's like a stone platform with a stone archway in the woods, and it's nighttime. Seems to be a full moon, and it's really bright coming through the trees.
Once you get there,
I'm there. It seems like I'm very cautious though to approach this archway because I feel like could be somebody else there too waiting for me to approach it. So I'm not sure if they're there or not.
Oh, okay. Is there any way to kind of get a better view and see?
It seems like I just tell myself I have to get up there, even if the whoever else I'm worried about being there is there. I have to get up there. So
You just got to go for it. Huh?
just have to go for it. Okay, so looks like I run up there and I stick the crystal pendant into. There's a hole that's been made under this archway.
Okay.
In the stone platform, and I stick it in there.
Does it fit in there perfectly, or is it just a place to put it?
It's made for that.
Oh, okay.
Put it in there. And then it does open a portal. It's like purpley and stuff in this archway.
Purple?
Like lavender kind of color. Mixture of purpley.
And is it your impression that you're to go through that portal?
That's what I'm trying to figure out.
What did the eye tell you when you look through the eye? What does it show you?
It looks like I'm meeting up with my group in some other dimension, like reuniting with them, but that there's some unfinished business that I have to take care of. There's something to do with this other being, something else I have to do before I go through.
Now, what happened to the invisibility cloak?
I don't have it anymore.
Oh, shoot.
I think maybe this other being has it, and that's
Oh.
why I'm not sure where they are.
Dang. You need some powder.
Yeah.
So you can like, poof.
Mm. Mm.
So what is it that you have to do with this other
That's what I'm
being?
trying to figure out. What is it that I have to do? Maybe I just have anxiety or feel responsible. Yeah, that's what it is. I feel responsible for leaving, like the people and this area that I'm in, because I feel like this being or this group, whoever it is that's after this stuff, I know when I go through the portal that they're not going to have any protection anymore from this group or whatever. And that I'm going to be leaving them vulnerable. So it's like I'm choosing to reunite with my group somewhere else, or staying to keep them safe. But they don't really know that I'm keeping them safe. So it's like that's the choice that I'm having to make right now.
That is a tough choice. Tough choice. And there's no way you can protect these beings from this other area, like remotely. If you were to go, you can protect these other beings.
Mm. It looks like too that when I go through the portal, it's gonna leave that pendant
Oh,
in the hole, because there's nobody to continue looking after it.
so they could potentially come through.
Mm-hmm. It looks like I do go through
Okay.
it though. And I still have the red stone, but the pendant gets left in the portal. And I don't really know, what happens to them. But there aren't that many people. It's not very populated. It's just
Okay.
that I just feel, I think our group was responsible for maintaining equilibrium and balance there in that part of the world, wherever that is. And so I feel like since I'm the last one, that I'm abandoning my duties there, but I do go through.
What is it like on the other side?
It looks like there's another portal archway on a really high cliff next to an ocean, and it's green grass and everything again, but it's a really high cliff face, just like a jagged cliff face down to the beach. And so there's another archway on the other side, and it's daytime. And there are others there. They're much older.
I was wondering if people were waiting for you.
Mm-hmm. Not very many, only 4 or 5. Looks like the main one is an old man, but he's still he's got a large frame. He's tall with a large frame. He's really strong. He's older. He's got white long hair and a little bit beard, and he's holding a staff, And he's got kind of, it's like armor, but it's almost kind of like leather armor.
Mm.
It's not metal.
And what does he say to you when you come through? Anything?
And he's got really powerful eyes. There's definitely concern about having to leave that pendant behind. But I don't know, it's kind of like, it's not like happy human reunion like humans would do. It's kind of like, okay, we're all together again. We need to continue on with this job that we have to do.
So it's back to work.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, let's leave that scene. Leave that scene. Let's drift away from that scene. Leave that entity there to continue on her journey. She'll find peace. She'll find happiness. She'll find what she's supposed to find. Now, I'd like for you to drift away from that scene. Good. Do I have permission to ask questions today?
Absolutely.
You chose to show Lauren that life. That life is somebody who protects others, who holds an energy, and then they shift. Like she's been safeguarding these instruments, these magical instruments, and then she shifts to a new dimension. Why did you show her that? Why was it important for her to see that today?
To reaffirm to her that she already knows how to do those things. She feels like she is able to, and she can, and she does.
Good.
And
So
it's very useful at this time of humanity's ascension.
So what is her role right now with humanity's ascension? Knowing what she already knows, knowing that she's done this stuff before. What is her role moving forward?
To continue to give of herself. We've told her before that she's a part of a technology, and so that's her contribution to humanity, as being a part of that technology. And she, so just being, and continuing on her path. That's her contribution.
So you said she is a part of the technology. Is it within her, something within her that's a part of the technology?
Yes, her energy is aligned to this particular energetic technology.
Good. That is exciting. Okay. So it's something kind of innate with her, in her.
Yes, she could not be any other way.
Did you have anything more to add about that life or her, or why you showed it to her?
She can practice opening energy portals in the woods.
Good. What would you like for her to see, to envision while she practices those?
And she can envision the arch. And that the trees and the stones will help to hold that space for the portal.
And I want her to just practice opening the portal, not going through. Is that correct?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. We'll give her more steps, but just practice opening it.
Okay. And when she sees the portal opening, how will she know she's not making it up?
She's going to feel like static electricity all over her body.
Good.
So she'll
Good.
know the portal is right there.
Very good. And should she worry that something's going to come through the portal?
Anyone who opens a portal, if their intention is for the highest good and for love, then there's no concern of attracting anything that would be a disruption.
Very good. Those are good guidelines. Now, in that life, you showed that there was kind of a nefarious group who was interested in that stuff, in what she had, and what she was able to do with the items that she was safeguarding. Does she need to worry about any of that stuff?
Mm-mm. They were on their path. That's why ultimately she chose to go through the portal and reunite with her group, because she realizes she even in that life that these beings are learning their lessons on their path, and they think that they are choosing a darker path, and that's how it appears, but ultimately we all return to light.
Good.
So if someone wants to walk a quote unquote dark path, just to stop them, there's only so much you can do to try to convince them otherwise. The only thing that you can really do to preserve the integrity of the highest good is to hold your light and maintain your light. And if that's not enough to convince them, then they're free. They're free to choose.
Good. Now, in that life, you showed her as being one of a group. Does she have her group here now that she's also working with? And if she does she know them?
Nathan is one. Nate.
He was one of the group.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
He's the old man.
He was the old man. Okay. She has questions about why she resonates so much with the idea of the sacred sexual priestess or prostitute. Using sexual healing, sexual energies for healing. What do you have to tell her about that? And it's something that has always resonated with me as well. So it wouldn't just be information for her. It'd be information for anybody who resonates with this.
Before we talk about that, we would like to do a little bit of light language to help her relax more,
Yes, please.
to go deeper. Casino Harisoka Shiri Satan. Aramagoro Sama Kushna. Harisana Kushna Amagasantans. Harisana Kushna Amagasantans. That's one of the Kushna. Okay, she wasn't letting her personality through.
Okay. Is she in a good spot now?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. If at any time that she needs that again, would you do that again?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Well, let's actually come back to that question. We'll come back to that question. Let's ask about what is the next step with her healing work. How can she help more people and not have to put them in a deep state of trance?
We're going to show her how to do something with the portals. It's going to look somewhat like Reiki, but she will be able to concentrate the energy around the person's energy field around their body and open something like a portal around them to be able to balance those energies or to activate light codes, to insert sort of plant the light codes within their energy field.
Whoa, that is that is so exciting. Oh my gosh. I'm thrilled for her. So you're going to give her information about how to do this, or is it like kind of revealing as she kind of practices opening up these portals?
It's going to be intuitive, so she will need people to practice on.
Okay. Can she do it remotely?
Eventually, but there's something about her energy being in the direct space of the client or the person receiving. And that's just until that has to do with the Earth's energies and the collective energy. As time goes on and the vibrations raise even more, then that quantum space, that quantum movement will be heightened and increased for everyone. For the time being, where the collective is and the energy is right now, she will need to be with them for the time being. She'll know when she can start doing it remotely.
That is so exciting. I'm thrilled for her. What would you like to tell her about the light language? How to use it any further? Where does it come from?
So we have told her, or we have instructed, and this is not just for her, but for others as well. There is the center of the galaxy, and there's an energy there that emanates to all life within the galaxy. And that's where it comes from. It's the center of creation for this galaxy that you are inhabiting at this time.
And the language comes from there. And what does it do? Does it anchor energies here? Or is it translatable in some way?
Sound and light are the foundation of building blocks of all realities, and everything that is perceived, and the sounds of creating light energetics as they're spoken. And we would like to say again, if this session is shared publicly, because we have said this to her before in private sessions, and she tells everyone, and we will say that it is encouraged for anyone who wishes to do this to ask for assistance to do it, because we cannot come there to do this. The sounds have to be projected from the hologram, from within the existing energy system, to bring those light codes to that plane of existence.
Okay, so anybody who's listening to this, if they would like to do it, they just need to ask.
Yes, and the method of learning will be different for each person. If it is appropriate, some people may ask who are not yet of a high enough vibration or pure enough intent to bring it through, and their team would not allow that to happen.
Okay.
But for those who feel that they would like to help even more with the ascension process and use light language, they can just ask for how to do that, and personal instructions will be given to them.
Oh, that's wonderful. I know there's going to be a lot of people signing up for that one. And like you said, they need to they need to open up the portal from their side to this light language. You can't really do anything from your side.
We can't.
Okay.
We have sent you. You are the ones who are embodied. You are a part of us. We are part of you. So you are here. You're the ones that are here. So in other words, we were sent. You are embodied here. You're an extension of the all that is. But it must be carried through your vehicle.
We are the portals.
Mm-hmm.
Good. This is exciting stuff. Okay, let's move on with her questions. What would you like to tell her about the hybridization program? Waking up with bruises all over her body, circular in nature. What can you tell her about that? She even went to doctors at a very young age, trying to figure out what she had random pain in her body, in her cheek, for instance.
That's not the beings doing the hybridization that's creating the bruising and the physical problems. It's very simple, the hybridization program. The beings that have enlisted for incarnated, and it's fairly straightforward. It was agreed upon that their physical bodies would be taken for checkups every so often anyway. And so there's portions of their DNA are extracted, and it's all with the highest good. It's a very loving process. They visit with their hybrid children often, and the other people who have contributed to their hybrid children. And they go on these ships often, and it's good. It's nice. No harm is done to their bodies.
Are you saying that Lauren did sign up to be part of the hybridization program?
Mm-hmm.
And so are you also saying then that she does have children?
It was
hybrid
vital.
children?
She was strongly encouraged to participate, because those cells, even though they are human cells, they carry the vibration of the soul in those cells. And that's why only high vibration souls who are incarnate on earth are permitted to participate.
Okay.
And lower vibration souls wouldn't want to participate anyway.
So these children, what are the purpose of these children?
Some of them have gone to see the new earth. And this seems like a very bizarre concept to many. But if we can encourage you to think of things non-linearly, and to remember that what you call the new earth is simply earth in a different dimension. And there are infinite dimensions. Just as you incarnated here on this earth at this time, they are choosing to incarnate in whichever way they do on that earth and that plane and that dimension at that time. And many of them are not being born, but being reared on the ships. Grown, we don't wish to use the term grown. Created, birthed on the ships and taken to that dimension where the new earth is. And then some of them are staying on the ships and acting as emissaries between the human race and what you call the ET, galactic families. And some of them are even being brought to the earth here now.
Oh, wow. And do they look similar to a human?
They look different. And they are in facilities. And they are intended to hold the vibration of the new earth.
Should we, when you say they're being held in a facility, I automatically think of some sort of CIA prison or something like that. Do you want to tell us that whether or not they're, I mean, are they choosing this, and are they comfortable and safe and happy?
There are organizations that are not related to the military complex that are involved with the hybridization program and involved with making contact with ET, and do have regular contact with their galactic families and galactic involvement that are not related to military. And yes, they are very happy and they know what they're doing here.
Okay, good. The organization that you're talking about, like one of the particular, would you like to say the name of that organization? If not, that's okay. We can move on. You said earlier that Lauren, the bruising that she was experiencing and the other issues that she's had growing up, they weren't related to this hybridization program. What were they related to? What was the bruising in particular? Because a lot of people are experiencing that.
We're looking for words that will not be frightening.
I appreciate that.
It appears that it is something like a MyLab, it is something like government, but that they have volunteered to do this on a soul level because the high vibration beings that have allowed themselves to be taken in such a way and the things that they participate with, and it's not something that is happening to them. It's something that they participate in. That they are bringing the high vibration to those facilities, to the people working there, and to that or to those government organizations. So it's something that on a soul level they're fully equipped for and have chosen to go along with.
So on a physical level, their body is obviously responding poorly to it. So is it, what needs to happen in order for them not to have these problems show up in their body? You know, you said they're participating in something. It's not something necessarily being done to them. They're participating in something. Why is it that they have to be so unconscious about it? And why is it that their bodies are responding so poorly to it or showing signs of it? Are their bodies being mishandled in any way?
It seems that the organizations responsible for this are under the impression that they are gathering information and possibly experiments. We don't necessarily want to say experiments, but there are asking for these participants to be participatory in something that's giving them, these organizations, information, but that the beings that are participating are actually gathering information as well on these organizations, almost like a special ops team.
Okay.
That they're on, gathering information about this organization that's doing this and what's happening. So it's a team, it's like a specialized team that they signed up for. So if they want it to stop, they can consult with their team, their spirit team, their helpers, and choose to have that part of their mission.
Okay.
To have that part of their mission stopped, if they choose that on a spirit level, spiritual level. But Lauren won't. She'll continue with that.
Yeah. Okay. But if anybody else does, instructions right here on how to stop it, if they choose.
Because
okay.
their spirits are much stronger than they see these bruises, and they feel on a human level some anxiety about that and wonder what's happening to them. But on a soul level, they're fully equipped. They are very, very specialized in high vibration and able to handle what's happening.
Okay. And I think that's good and super important for them to know, right?
Yes, there's so much misunderstanding. So all anyone ever needs to do is look within themselves and ask for further understanding about what the different specialized teams that they're involved with. Because most light workers are involved with a number of different teams and projects.
Okay. I'm afraid we have to keep moving on. We don't have much time left. So could we now look at the question about, opening up the creative sexual energy in the sacral chakra area and telling Lauren more about that and how to use it. And then why is she interested in the sacred sexual healing and the priestess / sacred sexual prostitute, using this kind of area of the body and the energy that emanates from that area of the body as a healing, as a form of therapy. So can you do those two things? Open up the sexual energy in that sacral chakra and the healing energy in that sacral chakra, and then telling her more about what that energy is for and how she should use it.
We would like to use the light language to fully open that.
Okay.
And anyone else who resonates with it by listening to this particular set of light codes will also be activated in that way.
Okay.
Sanantu Parasu Vishnu Bhagasanti. Lisene Kushona Misya Kasanti. Liso Kushona Nakuswana Tisita. Lasona Kushua Bhagasanti Tiatsin to Kushuna Ratsin. Arisiri Gasani Kusun to Sun Bashir. Lisona Go Oni Misyana Masya Kashwata. Lisana Go Paraksita. 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 Lisana Amachuna makoshuna atasina kasi. Arasana koshuna namakasati ocean. Asana koshni akasata yakashita. Samagona makashun asanta listetum anchukashuntis. And we know we're short on time. It is been given to the third dimension and humanity's history of the sexual energy. Now there is so little understanding. It was not sexual energy created, made into, or evolved into creative energy. It was always creative energy, then baselined and separated and distorted as what we consider human sexual desire and lust, because it was fragmented. So as humanity ascends and the sacred feminine rises and the divine masculine begins to again hold his position of light, the light and the dark, the feminine and the masculine, this is the creation of all that is interpreted by the human body as sexual energy, but it has always been creation. It has always been love creation, energetic creation of the highest form. It is the dance between the energies of all that is, and as it is interpreted by the human body as sexual desire. But as humanity is ascending and people are raising their vibrations, they will begin to understand sexual energy in a unified way, because it was fragmented before. It was degraded, and now it's rising. It is rising up again, and it is creative and healing.
If someone wants to tap in to this energy in its whole form and use it to help others, but not go have sex with them necessarily, but you use the energy to help others, how would they do that? What is the best way for them to use that sacred, sexual, creative energy to help others and to heal others?
In the same way that the physical body joins with another physical body, that during intercourse there is a portal opened during intercourse, and that's why it's imperative that the vibration held between the two auric fields is high. But just as during intercourse the auras are opened and there is a level of vulnerability and openness and sharing there, and alchemical intermingling there of the energies between the two beings, you can do all of that without physical intercourse. And you must become sensitive to how energy moves and what it feels like and is like for you as it moves. So, using Lauren as an example, we have activated this energy throughout her body. Now, at this point, that it does radiate from the center that she's holding here, where the womb is. And it is the same For men, it's a little bit lower, or here, where it will originate from. For women, it's about here where the womb is.
Okay.
And so she can stand or be near another being and energetically engage in intercourse. And we do not mean penetration or imagining, for others' clarification, not imagining having intercourse with that person, but the exchange of energy, as you have seen in Tantra illustrations, how this circle of energy completes, and the back and forth, and the opening, and the giving and receiving. And that creative energy from those that this energy is activated in will automatically go to where it's needed in the other individual to heal and to balance. And that person will in some way experience a release. During intercourse, it's through orgasm, where the energy is transmuted and released through orgasm. So without the orgasm, it may be that the next time that person has an orgasm, it may be released, or in some other way, spontaneously, the energy that was transmuted will be released and through that person's vessel in some way.
Wow. Okay. Very powerful stuff. Very powerful. I'm afraid we're coming to the end of our session now, unfortunately, but I would like, before we end, to take Lauren back to that beautiful healing place. And ask for the white light of Source to balance and align all of her cells and systems with the crystalline light body in a comfortable and gentle manner. And we'd also like to ask that her whole family benefits from, if we can access them and have their own healing take place while hers takes place. That would be wonderful.
We are transmuting that dense collective energy that the entire family and the pets are experiencing. We're transmuting it and replacing it.
Thank you. We're asking for the clearing and transmutation of all cellular memory, inherited familial energy, collective or personal programming of any kind that do not serve their highest good, and have those overwritten with Christ consciousness. We'd like to integrate and bring peace and joy to all the aspects and parts of self. I'd like to ask that Lauren remains grounded and open more to oneness. Take away any desires that pull her away from her alignment with expansion. Take away any desires and habits that pull her. Now, do we have time for one last question?
There's one question of Dan's
That's what I was going to ask. Wonderful. Yes,
that
please.
would be of service to all three here.
Okay. Do you want to just tell her what that is? Because I have about 6 here.
You know.
Is it will a full ET disclosure?
Number 4.
What was that?
Number 4.
Number 4.
Number 4.
Oh my gosh. That's one's about the AI takeover.
Okay.
So there's number 4. Could you expand further on the AI takeover, artificial intelligence takeover? The question that I was going to ask is about the full ET disclosure and whether that will happen before the new Earth comes.
We are formulating our words. Ask the 9 to come in.
We would like to invite the Council of 9 to come in now and answer any questions that are remaining. We would like to invite the Council of 9 to enter and answer the questions. Enter our session now.
We would like to remind that the issue of disclosure and is there life on other planets that is being relayed to the human populace is already implanted in the minds of every single human being on the planet. There's already a knowing and understanding there because the truth cannot be hidden. If they have no conscious awareness of it, it makes little difference because it's the vibration that is held that makes the difference and calls the timeline, calls the creation towards it. So in every single mind and heart of every single being on this planet, it is known and understood that you are not alone in this universe, in any dimension, in any direction of time and space. And that's what's important, is the vibration held in the minds, the collective of humanity. And that is why the AI has no power and no control of those of you who are united in your awareness of the love, of the galactic love, the galactic oneness. If you are united in that primary principle of the highest good of all, regardless of galactic creed or race, or what vehicle they come here in, whether it be a spaceship or a human body, that is the disclosure. And AI has no power over the creation properties of the human vibration. Is that understood?
Good. Thank you for that. Thank you for coming into our session today.
So you all have had a chance to watch light language, sacred sexuality, and hybrid children video session between Allison Coe and Lauren Hansen. And so we're going to talk a little bit about what happened in this session. So let's go through it chronologically, shall we? Who wants to start?
Yeah. Do you have any questions, Candace? Because I'm still trying to get my head around some of the things.
All right, I do have a question.
Well, I thought I was going to have, okay.
My first question was, why was the picture at an incline?
I don't know. I swear it was, I swear it was straight when I laid down. I really don't know. Honest to God. When I went back and looked at the video, I was like, WTF, I have no idea. I don't know why it was like that.
It was funny to me because, I mean, for me, it helped the humor part. It was sort of like, so your head sort of sinks down, and so there was a part of me that's like, okay, she's putting more blood to her head so her consciousness can expand. I mean, but no, it was just the angle of the computer. But
I think it just emphasized how not technically inclined I am. I did think I was gonna be a dragon, though. That's my main thought about the past life regression part, was that I had been asking for several weeks to see the lifetime where I was a dragon. But I obviously got something else instead. But so I was just staring at those big feet, and like, I know there was a long pause there, because when I went back and listened to it, I was like, Lauren, say something, you know. But I just couldn't, like, my mind couldn't get around these big feet on these thick legs and this white skin I was looking at, because I was like, damn, I'm supposed to be a dragon right now. This don't look like a dragon.
You're like, I look like a hobbit, man. What's up?
Yeah. I did.
So actually, I'd like to stop at this point and sort of talk about how detailed, Allison, truly brilliant. Your questioning was so brilliant here, because you focused on so much detail, and what you also did was you really allowed Lauren the opportunity to really look at some things. You know, you didn't just say, well, what are you wearing? And Lauren said, well, I kind of have a tunic on or whatever, and then have that be over. No, you went through a lot of detail, you know, about the fabric color, the fabric texture, what the feet looked like, what was on this part of the body. And then of course, I'm remembering now, you know, one of the things that got me giggling to begin with is, you know, you go up and up, and you're ready to see like what the face or the head looks like. And you actually already say, and now you say, for the money shot, I think you say, for the money shot, what does it look like? And I'm listening to this, you know, I think I'm folding laundry or doing housework or whatever it is I'm doing as I'm listening to this. And I look over at you, and I'm enjoying how much fun you both are having about this.
Yeah, it was so fun.
That you're able to talk in this way on a couple different levels, right? I mean, you're the practitioner, and you're the person having, Lauren, the experience, and that's happening on one level. And then there's this other level where there's two friends and two soul sisters having this very comfortable conversation about what's going on here, and it's able to keep the humor in it. And I just thought your questioning was brilliant. You know, very specific, and it really brought her into this experience, I thought.
Well, what you did see, Well, so thank you for that. And there's actually a reason for that. Lauren kind of edited out. Lauren had to pee so many times. I was like, when I get her into the body, I'm going to keep her in that body, you know? And so I had to like really go through kind of the minutia of the details. Not that I'm not interested in that. I was totally like fascinated with it as she's going through it, but I really did that for a reason, because I was like, because she kept popping up and I was like, I need to get her into this body, and really focused on the details of the body. So that was a little a trick. And I find it kind of hard to listen to myself kind of asking so many questions. So it really, thank you for making me feel better about that.
Well, I thought it was great.
No, the questions were great. Yeah, it was great.
It was obvious that she was going to be in that body. And of course, I didn't know about all the bathroom trips. I think you mentioned it a little bit. But you know what? We as practitioners, we know if someone needs to use the restroom, they need to go, because some of what's released then is frustration or resistance or something in the way, and it needs to go. So you get up and go as many times as you need to. So sometimes that's surprising even to another practitioner.
Yeah, she really had to let it flow.
Yeah. I did, and I had already peed, no joke, like 20 times that morning. I had peed so much already that day.
Oh my God. That's why
I'm sorry.
It worked out well, because that's why we were able to find such fine details in on her body and in her surroundings, and then those details led to the bigger pictures of who she was. So if we hadn't done that, and if she hadn't gotten pee so many times, we might not have known about the necklaces wrapped up and all this stuff, and what the red ball was, and that stuff. It was fascinating when she started talking about it. It was like, ooh. And because she was explaining it so well, I have to give Lauren so many props for that, because she could really see the stuff, and it comes alive to you. It's like who was on the forum yesterday talking about virtual reality? About we as a practitioner. Oh, I think it was Angie Sanchez posted a video on the forum, and she was talking about how we as a practitioner see through the client and their descriptions. It's like we're in a totally different reality. So it's like, as a practitioner, you're just spacing out and you can see the images as they're being described, and it puts you there. So it's like I feel like she described him so well. I could see him so clearly, and it was beautiful.
It was in large part because of your great questions. Yeah, because I really typically have a tough time seeing in a session. So it's kind of like a combination of seeing and just kind of knowing. So a lot of that with the detail, like the invisibility cloak and stuff, like I was not anticipating anything like that whatsoever. That was the kind of stuff, it just came to my knowing. I just knew what it was, and that was surprising to me.
That's cool.
That was another place where I was laughing at one point. I think, the invisibility cloak was there, and then later she needed the invisibility cloak, and Allison's like, "Where's your invisibility cloak?" And Lauren's like, "Dang, I don't have it anymore." And Allison's like, "Oh," and that was sort of that humor in there, and I so enjoyed it. It was like watching a movie to me.
Yeah, because the guy had it. Whoever was following her had her invisibility cloak, and that's where, like, in my head, I was like, man,
I did not see that comment at all.
If only you have some like powder, you could be like, and it would catch on. That would be terrible, to be chased by somebody who had your invisibility cloak. But yeah.
But he jacked my clothes.
We laughed so much about this, but the way that you had this exchange was so interesting, because you can talk like this. You can have this conversation in this way that really kind of almost, you know, it deepens the information that comes forth. It deepens the experience to be able to have, to even be able to say things like that, to have this conversation. I think a lot of people, when they think about quantum healing sessions, and they, you know, they think I'm very clinically, right? And that, so I think some of watching the session that you all just had, I think will be surprising to some people, some of the humor and some of the apparent ease of conversation between the two of you. You know, it's just kind of a regular exchange and some stories going back and forth. And I enjoyed that very much. And you all made a great team.
Yeah, it was fun. It seemed very natural. So I'm glad that came out.
Yeah, it definitely was.
All right. Yeah, it was a great story. I kept thinking, you know, I'd like to see this, you know, up on the big screen, you know, in some sort of theater.
Yes.
It had a great thought. It really did. So is there anything else you want to talk about that past life, or shall we go on to the more interesting after information?
If you don't have any more questions about it, then it's whatever you want. I don't have any more comments about it.
I'm all good.
Okay. All right. So I have my favorite parts of the whole session, of course, and I'll talk about that shortly. But some really great information that came out. You know, what comes to mind that was important to you, Lauren?
Let's see. Well, I think the hybrid children information was good because, I mean, honestly, I was getting concerned about why I was waking up with bruises, and I mean, it has happened, I feel like, my whole life and things like that, but I don't know just why lately in the online session that I had done with my friends, and so that the subject had come up, and the whole idea of the hybrid children thing just still didn't sit well with me. So to have that reassurance that the hybridization program, because I had told Allison that when we were talking about it, I felt a profound sense of peace and love associated with it. It felt very, very good. So to have that relief in my mind and to know that the hybridization program is not what was happening to my body, that was important for me. And to know a little bit about what was happening with my body, and that that there are some other programs that some light workers are involved with, but that it's something that they agreed to, again, was a huge weight off of me, because I feel empowered now instead of like, damn, what the hell is happening to me when I'm asleep, you know? So, and now my daughter's waking up with strange bruises. So now I think we both can feel empowered. Of course, I haven't discussed it with her. I just kind of reassured her that everything was okay. So that was a highlight for me. And of course, the sacred session, actually all of it. So if you guys have any comments about it, I thought it was all stuff that I really wanted to know about. So
yeah, I thought the hybridization stuff was really cool, because the stuff that was revealed in Lauren's session, I was telling her this right before we did the video, right before we did this video, not before the session, but everything that she said, I heard from a client almost 1 year ago in a session, and I've never shared it because I never had more data points that lined up that verified it. So it was really cool to get that information from Lauren's session about these hybrid children and the way they were grown and raised, and then where they were going on the new earth. Fascinating. And that's exactly what came out from another session. So it was really cool to hear that and just get validation on my end. But yeah, I'm sure it was super reassuring for for people who really resonate with the hybrid children stuff, like they really feel that they're part of the process, and what's going on with that, you know, and is it a benevolent thing? Is it, you know, or is it not? And so to get some answers for them is, I think, super helpful.
I think other people are going to find that information helpful as well. They'll probably feel that that could be a possibility for themselves as well. And, you know, maybe this is a good time to mention it. You know, all three of us are kind of dealing with, I keep hitting like that and cough a little bit. All three of us are kind of coming off of a throat chakra, releasing, sort of cleansing something or other, some sort of energy thing. And I find it fascinating because I don't ever get sick, although I got sick in May of this year. And at that time, I also was surrounded by several other groups of healers who had some of the same issues going on in May. And then to have this sort of repeat, and we all are talking about our deeper kind of froggy voice coming together. And something about that I think is really interesting. And so another reason why my hand keeps coming up and I'm sucking on a lozenge and everything. So another interesting between them.
Yeah, and we all got sick at the same time, roughly the same time. That was pretty crazy. It
really was.
Yeah, I'm generally healthy as a horse up here in Portland. Don't hardly ever get sick, and certainly it was strange to get sick. And then you said it was strange to get sick, and I believe Lauren, you also said it was strange to get sick. So all three of us getting sick at the same time.
There used to be a time in my life where I got sick like more often, but the past year and a half or so, I hardly ever get sick. So especially something like this where it's still hanging on for 2 weeks, that never happens.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Same.
I'm trying not to cough.
And you know what? I mean, quite frankly, I have to see the connection or the irony. Of course, we're talking about bringing, you know, these quantum healing sessions out and talking about them, doing them online. And I think that has to have at least a small component about what's going on with us here. So,
like you said, the
maybe
chakra thing.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So another very fascinating part of the information that came through was something, you know, Lauren, you had mentioned, I think at least several months ago, you were asking about this, you know, talking about energetics again. Let's talk about the sacral chakra and the sexual energies. And some of the questions that came up in your session had to do with this topic of sacred sexuality and how sexuality had changed and how some different ways to think about it. And it was fascinating. And I have to say the idea that, you know, you all did this and are releasing this on a public video is really cool. I haven't heard too many people talk about it. And what do you have to say about that?
Well, I just feel like it's something important to bring up right now. Why right now, I don't really know. But that was the whole reason for me wanting to have another session, was that I had been feeling this sensation in that sacral chakra area. And it felt like it was something that I wanted to sort of, like I said before, blossom and spread throughout my body. And it felt very healing, like it would feel more intense when I was on the way to a session. And I would hear my guidance telling me, just let it flow through you, let it flow through you, because it was healing energy wanting to express. But there were some times where it felt very intense. And I'm not really sure how it all came together. I guess I was doing research about energy in that area, and I've just been doing a whole lot of thinking about, and you know, Tantra is already a thing, of course, but more thinking about the energetics of what we would consider Tantra and how that can be used in a practical way to help people, just to help somebody that, you work with, standing next to them or standing next to somebody in the grocery store line, how we can use that creation energy, because that's really what it is source energy, how we can use that to help people. So in a way, in exchanging of energy and just getting a better understanding of how to do that, to just help people in a more practical way without having to engage physically with them. Although engaging physically with them is cool too.
Since time immemorial.
Yeah.
I think it was cool the way that it was brought up in the session that you said that creativity is the baseline. That's where it came from. It was creative energy that was then kind of distorted into kind of sexual energy. But really, what that is, it's creative energy. So it was very beautiful to think of it like that, just for creativity. And it doesn't have to be just, for making babies, or having sex, but for something bigger.
My takeaway from it too was that, and we know this already, but that energy has been misused for millennia, in like a low density way. And so, I mean, intercourse is beautiful, the whole sexual energy and everything, all of that's very beautiful, but I feel like there's something coming to the forefront right now about reclaiming the sacredness of that energy. So that was why I wanted to do the session, and I'm glad we found out stuff.
Yeah, I think it's super important to know that no matter how you're using the energy, you are creating something. So if you know that you're creating something with this energy, whether it's in the act or whether it's connecting energetically to something, you're using it for creation. So knowing that should help you get into the mindset of, okay, what am I creating with this? What can I create with this? And I don't want to create something bad, so let me create something good. And having that intent beforehand. So kind of switching your whole mindset and your consciousness about what's happening, because you're creating either way. So it's good to kind of know that.
Really brings to mind the idea that you must be careful with your thoughts in all situations, being a human. In all, most of us weren't raised that way. Most of us were raised, were raised with, you can have these internal private thoughts and they kind of don't matter as long as you don't express them. They don't, they may not affect other people. And I think we're moving into a world where, oh, yes, they affect other people. Right now, some thoughts can still be. But we are getting to a place where you might as well think about having a thought bubble written above your head when you think something, because people are reading energy in a way that you're just not going to get away with that shit anymore. You're just not. You think you can say something nice and then really catty, snide in your own head, and it just doesn't work anymore. And that comes forth with this whole idea of transparency and the truth coming out about everything.
Yeah, I think authenticity, you hit the nail on the head, Candace. I mean, authenticity is the only way forward, and you can't bullshit people anymore. And I think if there is one thing that I get credit for almost from people I meet or people sending me comments or anything like that, is that you're so authentic. And it's like, I don't know any other way to be anymore, and nor should you. That is the only way to show up nowadays. Because if people have a meter now, they can tell when your inner thoughts, when your thinking doesn't match what you're putting out there. So it's super important. I'm glad you mentioned that.
All right. Okay, so how about this? How about we talk about what's my favorite part of your session? the light language
Okay.
information. OMG
Yeah.
on the LL, ladies. OMG. First of all, Lauren, I mean, when you, I mean, so, you know, all of a sudden she's like, okay, well, she's having a little trouble. She needs to say her light language. And I wasn't even ready for that part. I'm like, oh, okay, well, I'll hear that. And so then it happened at least a couple of times. I thought, wow, that was interesting. But all kidding aside, this was my favorite part for many reasons. Personally, but also, Allison, because of the way that you took the opportunity to take this personal thing that was happening with Lauren and ask some universal questions to help really all humans who might have the opportunity to have access to this information understand what this was, understand how they might access it. And the way you did that was the way you dovetailed and brought that information out and had it be available to all people was really beautiful and brilliant as a practitioner. And I think we all can agree that it changed some things for me pretty quickly after listening to the session. But go ahead and talk about the light language part about it.
Yeah, I think Lauren should definitely talk about that. I was just bearing witness, but I think we talked about before the session. I'm not sure if we talked about it, like when we did the interview portion, Lauren and I think she mentioned that it might be good to actually share with others. So that might be why I was.
Yeah, I think I did. Yeah,
so.
Because in another session, they had told me. Can you hear me? Sorry. Yeah, in another session, they had told me that it was something that they want everybody to be, anybody who wants to and has a pure intent, they want them to be able to do it. It's not just a chosen few. And I believe you both had your own experience with it after the session. So I haven't really heard about it too much. So I would love to hear about what happened with your experience. 0 to light language in 60 seconds.
Yeah, man. I'll explain mine really quick. So yeah, it was really cool that you know, in the session, obviously it said, you know, if anybody else wants to do this, this is what they should do. They should ask. This is where it comes from. They should ask, and that it might come in different formats to them, and it might not even be available to them, but they really should ask and they should start. So since we did our session so early in the day, I was able to, before I picked up my daughter, I was able to like have a long meditation after our session. And during that meditation, I was like talking to my higher self. You know, we were yapping together, and I was like, hey, you know, that light language stuff. Can you hit me up with some of that light language? And I had earbuds in my phone, not earbuds, but what do you call them when you put the little ear things in your anyway, I had blocked my hearing. I forgot, I can't even remember what they're called. But I had like ear things in my ear, so I couldn't hear any sounds. And earplugs, that's what they are, earplugs, thank you. So I had earplugs in while I was doing this meditation, and all of a sudden, when I asked to have access to the light language, it started streaming from my mouth, but not speaking it like Lauren was. I started singing it. Now, it sounded beautiful, but that's because I couldn't hear it. So it was gorgeous from the inside, but I can't even imagine what it sounded like from the outside. It was probably all over the place. But it was so cool. It just started coming out. So that was my experience with it. And it's happened a couple other times. And then in another meditation, I asked about how I should use it. Like, you know, is this something that I should do during my sessions, or should I, because I'm not really, I don't know, I'm not really comfortable speaking it. And they were like, you are going to have this light language integrated into your words. And so it's going to appear, it's going to wrap around your words when you talk from now on. So you better speak properly from now on. That doesn't mean don't cuss, because I can't, that's not an ability for me. But it's going to be wrapped and coded around my words from now on. And
that is amazing.
Whoa, mind blown. So that was my experience so far.
That really just emphasizes too how individual it is, because some people write it, some people create paintings, draw those symbols, etc., etc. It's very individual for each person's expression, creative expression. And I prefer to kind of talk it and kind of almost whisper it, and you know, because that's like indicative of my energy. But there are people out there who sing it loudly, or they do the singing bowls and all kinds of other stuff with it, and it's very individual how it's expressed.
Yeah. Sorry, you can see my kid. It's like as soon as the camera's on and she knows it, she's falling over the floor. Your feet like kicking out in the corner. Like, what the hell are you doing?
It's very cute though. It's very cute.
You know, she knows.
And
she
another
knows
thing,
the energy that's going on around here. She wants to be part of this.
Yeah. Another comment about the light language is I almost kind of don't want to call it light language. It's almost kind of a misnomer, because people then seem to believe that there's always a translation for it in English when there isn't always a translation. So I'm preferring, I think, now to call it light codes, because that just seems more accurate to what's actually going on. And, you know, because when somebody does light language and they've painted it, or they have created something else that's tangible, it's not really language, is it? So, but it's still putting those light codes out into our earth plane here, into this dimension. So
good point. That's pretty cool to think of it like that, light codes, because when I think of it wrapping around the words that are said, I see it as codes, like a sprinkling of light codes around it. So good descriptor of it. I want to hear your experience, Candace.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Well, actually, my experience has a pre-experience with it, also with an online quantum healing session. So we have a colleague named Pedro Frias who lives in Portugal, and probably a handful of days or maybe a week before listening to your session, he did a session on me. Obviously, you know, long distance using Zoom like this. And it was a really interesting session. But I don't even need to talk about the session, because what was relevant about why I'm even bringing it up happened after the session. So when the session was all over and I was heading to bed, because I go to bed early and Pedro's heading to bed and he was going to bed really late, but both of us were, you know, shutting down for the day. And I was, you know, we disconnected and all that stuff. And I'm getting ready to, you know, put myself in for the night. And I closed my eyes at one point and I saw all of those symbols. All of those symbols were in my, I watched all those symbols in my field of vision, and I was just shocked. I've heard of it. I've seen it. I've seen pictures. But I've never had it myself. You know, I've had clients who've done all those things, done the drawings, brought me sheets of paper, who did the singing, did the voice, did all of that. And it's all really interesting, but it's never really happened to me. And there wasn't anything in my session about light language at all. And so I went to sleep that night. I don't even remember my dreams. And quite frankly, that was the only time I ever saw it. I have not seen it before. I've not seen it since. But it was really cool. And here's another cool thing. It happened to Pedro too.
It happened to him.
Oh, it did
happen to him too. That is amazing.
Oh, that's
After the session, we both had it happen to us. And I don't know if he's had it repeated or not. I haven't had a chance to catch up with him, but we both had it, and I thought it was so cool, of course. And so then now I'm listening to your session, and then again, this wonderful conversation about, well, how you can ask and how you know if you're ready or whatever. And so I'd finished your session, and I was all alone here in the farmhouse, and it was late at night, and I actually had put myself into a salt bath. It's kind of my nightly thing. I take a salt bath almost every night. And I'm just sitting there in the salt bath, and I'm thinking about all the things that happened in the session, but particularly the light language. And it was just so interesting, and I was just thinking about it. I wasn't even asking or anything. I was just thinking about it, and my mouth opened, and it just started coming out. It just, started coming out, and I'm listening to myself. And the part that really surprised me was the inflection, the repetition, I had no idea what I was saying, but it was so purposeful, and it just kept coming out. And it was astonishing, and it's happened several times since. And I don't know, or didn't know what to think about it too very much until, Lauren, you said something about using it in a session.
Yeah.
And so now, well, I've had a couple, I've traded sessions with a couple other energy workers, some colleagues, some really good friends of mine, Andrew Martin, who came down to spend time with us in Sarasota when we had our 5D and Beyond, Quantum Healing 5D and Beyond conference down in Sarasota last October. And then, excuse me very much, David Manning, who's also part of our community, quantumhealingpractitioners.com. Both of them do a kind of sound healing in their work where they use, well, basically sound, some toning, and David especially does a sort of, he uses some phrasing that might seem like light languages, and both times after having sessions with both of those men, things about my own session work and my own self and energy field have changed as a healer. And what I found fascinating was all I had to do was listen to your session, and suddenly something's coming out of me. And I know that it has a connection with these other sound healing sessions that I've had. We use these terms, activations. And I don't know, sometimes I can be kind of jaded even in our own world, and I kind of, okay, an activation.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, it's like, okay. And you know what? Here's the thing with that, right? Activations can be, okay, whatever, that was kind of fun for some, and for other people, it could be like the thing that changes stuff for them. They can pivot on that activation on a dime, and something can open up and flower for them. And so these things really were these energy healing sessions I had with all of these people, Pedro, Andrew, and David, all did something. And then listening to yours, hearing it come out of my own mouth, I can now see myself actually doing this as work as well in a healing way. And it's exciting, it's thrilling. And I would love, for those of you who are listening to this video and who had watched the session just now, we want to hear from you. Did this happen to you? Are you seeing the light language? Is it coming out of your mouth? Are you singing it? How did it happen? What are you thinking about it? I'm just sure we're going to get a lot of stories like that from people who are watching this video. And I'm so grateful that you all are willing to put it out on YouTube and have it be public.
Yeah, a year ago, I would have never thought that I would be speaking light language during a quantum healing session and then putting it on YouTube or whatever. But it has been so remarkable in my quantum healing sessions with people. It's like it has its own intelligence. It has its own source intelligence. All I have to do is let it come out of my mouth. I mean, that's super easy once you learn how to do it. And the way that it helps people in all different sorts of ways, from helping them to relax, to helping them open that channel with their higher self, to helping them release years, lifetimes of programming and pain in their heart chakras. I mean, it's amazing, and I feel extremely privileged that I've been doing it for so long. It's been over 10 years now, but of course I wasn't using it in quantum healing sessions for 10 years, but I'm just, every time I use it, I'm so thankful at how much it helps people. And it has nothing to do with me. It has everything to do with, you know, Source Creator and the beings that look after us, and our commitment to help people as quantum healers. So, and we're a network, and we support each other in that. And so I'm really grateful to be a part of a network that accepts that I can speak light language in my sessions and help people, because it does help people.
Beautiful. Well said. Well said. There are some wonderful people who can use that tool in their practices today, tomorrow. You know, it's amazing. That's so cool that you've been doing it for 10 years. Holy crap.
Yeah. I know. I'm surprised at myself about that sometimes. It's not something I ever shared. I just kept it to myself for a really long time, but the time has come, and let me be the harbinger, the messenger that tells you guys, all of you can do some form of it too if your heart's in the right place. And probably everybody watching this, their heart's going to be in the right place.
So I have to ask, it looks like my plant is eating me. I have to ask, are you, the information about the portal in your session, where it said that your higher self said that it wants you to go out into nature and start trying to create this portal, and then you're actually going to use that and the light language together in your own kind of healing modality. Have you started doing that at all? Because this has been.
I know, it's been a few weeks. There was a period of time, like literally years, when I was going to the forest every day, going to our local park and going into the woods to walk and whatever. And since I had picked up another job, I just was too exhausted to go out there. So I'm out of the habit now. And I really need somewhere more secluded than that park to be able to do it. And I almost kind of wish I had somebody to go into the wilderness with me to do that. I know you would if you could, Alice. We could do that.
Hell yeah, girl. Hell yeah. I know. If you open that goddamn portal, maybe I could come through. See?
That would be so nice. Yeah, I just wasn't expecting that information at all. Not even an inkling of that information. So I'm still trying to get my head around that too. And yeah, it's been a topic of meditation since then for sure. But I'll definitely keep everybody posted on the progress of that as it unfolds for sure.
Please do. That was really cool. And it said like you're going to feel like static electricity. Like that's when you know that the portal, you're not just imagining it, like you're actually creating it, because you're going to feel that static electricity.
Yeah, I'm so glad you asked that question, because I was thinking the same thing. I'm like, how the hell do I know if I open a portal if I don't see it with my eyes? So exactly. I'm so glad you asked that. I'm really glad you asked that question.
Yeah, me too. Because
I would have been wondering.
I'm gonna use that. No, just like that's all you.
Yeah, that would be great. What if we opened one at the same time, coast to coast, West Coast and East Coast?
A group portal.
Wouldn't that be amazing?
Man,
yeah. And you have one too. You have one too, Candace.
That's right. You do, like on your farm, right?
At your farm.
Right.
Yeah.
Right out back.
Ever since
I
did this interview recently with, oh crap, it's been so long. It's been like a month and a half or 2 months. Anyway, I did this interview and it was about this portal opening up and somebody walking through. It was through a session, and through a couple sessions, this guy disappeared, and he's gone, but he's not dead. He went through a portal. And I heard from so many people after that, who not practitioners, but people all over the world who are seeing these portals open up. it's amazing. This is not a singular phenomenon by any means. It's happening. So Lauren, jump on the portal bandwagon, man. Come on.
I will. I'll get busy. Hey, girls, I just want to let you know that my phone's going dead. So if I cut out, then it's because my phone went dead. We can continue the conversation, but
we've been talking for quite a while, and plus the hour 30 or so minutes of the video, we've got quite a length for everyone who's already stayed with us for this long. So how about we wrap it up? Any final words or thoughts about this session or what's to come in the future?
I'm ready to do it again.
Well, are you? Me too. Yeah, I'm definitely ready to do it again with Allison. And I just want to extend my thanks to both of you, Allison and Candace, for being such a strong support for me. And you've both been there for me, like, you know, in the background, anytime I needed anything or had any thoughts to share, you've both been there. So I just want to thank you guys for that. And I couldn't ask for two better people to have this experience with.
Thank you. And thank you, Candace, for making this all happen. I mean, Lauren and I wouldn't connect, and I wouldn't know anybody in the field if it wasn't for you and your amazing forum and your amazing directory and all of the work you do. Seriously, I do not know how you do it all. I mean, there's not 24 hours in your day, it seems like, because you are on the ball and you are so responsive anytime anybody needs you, and your presence is everywhere. And you are really are the backbone to a lot of what we do, and a lot of the international communications that we all have. We learned so much from so many people all over the world, and it's so lovely to see your beautiful face here and in person, well, over the computer in front of me. It's just amazing, because I just thank you so much for this, and thank you, Lauren, for you know, picking up the phone, my phone message.
Thank you for calling me. Thank you for leaving me a message.
Yeah.
I'm very grateful.
Well, I thank you both as well, and I thank everybody who's a part of our community. You know, we've opened our arms and we welcome quantum healers of all kinds, all modalities. Can come join us. You can find us at quantumhealingpractitioners.com. We've got a great forum. You know, we're coming up on beginning our 10th year, and I don't know if y'all ever go and look at the post count on the forum when you show up, but not too long from now, we're going to be celebrating our 100,000th post.
That's awesome.
So we've got quite the archives and lots of information, and we're going to have a new face coming in 2018. We're kind of streamlining and updating our interface and our platform, along with bringing really fun things to the directory, including an events calendar where people will be able to talk about shows or gatherings or online regressions, or, as an example, one of the things we're doing in Greece in 2018 in May is bringing together some practitioners for a healing gathering, conference, and retreat. So come check us out at quantumhealingpractitioners.com to find a quantum healer or to list your very own practice. Ladies, let's do this again sometime, especially if you do another session. Whoever is going to be the person who swaps. I was going to ask if you're going to swap and have a session, excuse me, yourself, Allison, or if Lauren's going to lay down again for another session.
Don't set your computer on a teddy bear next time. And
I have no idea what happened.
Oh, that was great. Well, thank you, ladies. My thanks to you all.
Thank you.
That's the next show. All right. We'll talk to you later. Bye-bye, everyone.
Right.
Thank you.
Bye-bye. Thank you.
Bye.